Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
You are we're from Northeast Ohio. We know why we love Cleveland because that's the way we were brought up. You're from Maryland. You were drafted here, but you're still here. What is it about this city as like someone that was once an outsider now here? Why is this city resonate with so many players? We see it, Cavs, Guardians, Browns, players that stay here or come back here very often. What is it, like, from your perspective, what is it about this area?
It's the love of the city, man. It's the fans, the love that they pour into their teams. It's like, it's a big family. It's like I didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? Even though I played it with two other teams after leaving Cleveland, my house is still here. My family's still here. This is where I started my family, and Cleveland's my second home. So yeah, it's just awesome. I'm a little on the outskirts, but I'm still here. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and Northeast Ohio, it tends to stretch different ways. Like if you want to be a part of Northeast Ohio, like, we'll stretch those limits for you.
Cleveland reaches all the way to Akron. I don't know if you knew this.
Well, yeah. Well, see, what I consider Northeast Ohio, I don't know if there's like ever a debate about this, but if I'm watching the weather or whatever, and they're showing the map of the area, like, I'm gonna consider however far they stretch, whatever piece of Ohio they pull out for Northeast Ohio. Yeah. That's what I consider Northeast Ohio.
It's about Cedar Point to the Pennsylvania border.
Yeah,
down to Akron.
I look at it. If you're out of town and someone asks where you're from, you can be like, I'm from Parma, Ohio. They'll be like, where the hell is that? You're gonna say I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, because that's what you affiliate yourself with.
Yeah, because there's not as many cities that stand out to people when you're talking about it, and so I've always I could say I'm from Wickliffe, Ohio. All right, what is that? I've only ever heard of Wickliffe, Kentucky. Oh, you've actually heard of Wickliffe, Kentucky? I didn't even know there was a Wickliffe, Kentucky until I tried to search for my own city on Google and found out Kentucky came up first. Like, I'm gonna
tell people all the time. Go ahead.
I like you said, Jay. I'm gonna say if it's someone that doesn't really know me or whatever, I'm going to say I'm from Cleveland. Like, I'm 15 minutes east of downtown. I drive into downtown for work every single day. I get to see the skyline that I was brought up to absolutely love, the city that I was brought up to love. I get to work there. Like, I pinch myself every day because I'm from here. But to hear it from someone that did come kind of from the outside and now has established a family and established a life here in Ohio, in Northeast Ohio, like,
Cleveland's different.
Yeah.
Me and Ricky Smith are talking about this, and it's Cleveland. It's like Asgard and stuff. It's not a place; it's a people, and we really do look out for each other. Like, Cleveland is there's a reason there's 10 different T-shirt stores that sell Cleveland T-shirts, and all excel. Like, we love Cleveland. We love our people, and like I said, it's more of a people than a place, and it always has been.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are there other fan bases that come up with songs about players that they, latch on to, absolutely love? I mean, I don't know if you've heard it. There's a Flacco Fever song.
I think I might have not heard the whole thing, but I probably strolled past it.
Yeah. So there's that. There's people making songs about Flacco and the Browns, and whether it's a good year or a bad year, like, fans are willing to they do that. Do other places do that? Like, what did you experience in Washington? And
it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same,
right?
Yeah, Denver. It was Denver then Washington, but yeah, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, and like Denver is it's a tough place to play because the altitude. And they tend to pack that stadium. When the Browns played there, that stadium was packed. Like, what is the difference in that dynamic? Like, is it talked about daily? Are fans like that rabid about it, or can you really feel that different energy between Cleveland and some of these other places?
It's just, it's unmatchable. You can't match it, really. After I left Cleveland, and I was in Denver for a short stint, and it was different because I'm in a new area. But I didn't play in the stadium there, but in Washington, even though that was my home, like my home city, like my hometown team, and it still couldn't match Cleveland.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, and that's crazy. Like because we all talk about home, like home is where your heart is
Yeah.
and everything. I mean, my sister is one of those people that did move away from Ohio and from Cleveland. Like she found home in Seattle, all the way across the country. Like my home was here. Like you're gonna find what resonates more. Like you got to play actually at home
Yeah,
for Washington, and it still resonates more here. Like I don't know what more can tell you about this city,
yeah,
but it is a beautiful thing. And with a playoff atmosphere, I know we don't get a home playoff game. Like we can only dream and imagine what that would look like. Like what you guys saw on that Thursday night, you'd have to think that would be ramped up. Like,
yeah, for sure. I hope we get one. I hope we can sneak one this year, home playoff game.
yeah, I mean, it's just how it shakes out. And doesn't it, after the wild card, doesn't it like, do they reseed? Like, how does all that? I'm like so confused on how all that works because it's not like
I
it's
think
not like
it
a
goes off
bracket,
like
right?
record and
Yeah.
Just let it happen. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to.
Yeah, for
someone
sure.
explained it on Twitter, and I looked at it, and I'm like, I'm even more confused now. But
I mean, it's
sure.
like, and these are things that we haven't gotten to break down enough. And even back in 2020, like it felt different because we couldn't be around it. We had to live through TV screens and streaming devices to try to catch that playoff atmosphere. I mean, to start with Heinz Field, and it was Heinz Field at that time. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce what that field is now. It's a putrid look to me, anyways. But like to have that stadium silent the whole time, you hear guys like the guys on the sideline like cheering and all that type of stuff. Like that just was weird. Like we get the full experience this year, and even with our team on the road, Browns fans are gonna travel.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Jay, you going?
So, probably not on the road. Unless you're driving, Kevin, I'm not going. But
I'm working.
so earlier this summer, I got to have a conversation with Greg Newsome, and he was talking about how he had never been to Cleveland before. I think he was drafted or whatever, and he heard all these things about Cleveland or whatever, and he goes, he got here, and he's like, it was just so much different than what you hear, and it's so much better. When you got drafted by Cleveland, what were you hearing about the city before you got here?
I didn't know. It was more of a, I'm just here to embrace it, to see. But it was always like when I got here, it was love. You know what I mean? Everybody, dapping me up, wherever we go, and Joe Hayden, he kind of, took me under his wing my first year here. He was already the king of the city, so it just made it that much better.
And you see a guy like that. I mean, I know he ended up playing for the Steelers. I mean, it was just based on that's the business of football. Like he took advantage of an opportunity. I don't think anyone in Cleveland ever faults him, but he comes back and still gets that love because, again, when this city falls in love with you, or
no Flacco, look at what's going on here. Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
I used to hate that man.
Who was it? I think it was C.J. Mosley came up to him after the game. They're former teammates with the Jets, but also with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What are these? Can you believe that these MFers are cheering you right now? How crazy is this?" And to Flacco's credit, he's tried to do stuff like this, like podcasts and stuff, and he knows his lane. Like his lane is playing football and then being dad when he gets home. And like nothing, you can have all the acronyms, all the praise for him you want, unflappable, Flacco, come up with all the turn of phrase you want. But he really just takes it step by step, and he's embracing it.
Oh yeah.
Step by step.
For
and
sure.
I think that's why he ended up being the right guy at the right time for this team.
Perfect.
I don't know how other NFL teams left him at home, but that's part of the business of football that we don't get to hear. We're not privy to every single conversation that happens over the phone and agents and all that. But it's the right guy at the right time for this team, and he's kind of an extension of Stefanski without them having much of a relationship.
Yeah, it's awesome, man, and like we keep saying, I'm excited. It's definitely going to be one for the memory books.